They said
and that I have a problem with is the political system. Our institutions don't work, right? In other jurisdictions, anybody who commits such an offense, quickly you apprehended, you put before court, and what the court has to tell you, they tell you, all right? But here, our institutions, we tend to have problems, and that leads to impunity, where people think that they can, take the law into their own hands and nothing will happen. I hope and pray that Ghana will be a very solid institution.
We'll come to you shortly, Doc, but Mr. Jakuma up there is a returning officer at the ILSO West Wogon. The NDC is raising some red flags about irregularities, and he is speaking to it. Take a look at this.
To declare the result, how would you react to this?
I think they've been here with us all through the process. We have been on the field since 3 days ago, trying to make sure the election runs smoothly. Also, they've had agents with us all throughout the process and then throughout the collation process as well. There were concerns as to some figures, but we never had the opportunity to see them. And officially, they haven't made any requests for us to sit down and then reconcile the figures. So I believe that they are pleased with the figures, and as you can see, we had a peaceful election, devoid of violence, devoid of any form of election malpractice.
But the issues with the figures, were you able to resolve that?
Yeah, in fact, it's something that I am unaware. Officially, I haven't seen any discrepancies in the figures. These are figures that were authenticated by their agents and other stakeholders involved. And their agents at the collation center too has authenticated the summary sheet. So I'm still waiting for them to give me an official response to the discrepancies.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that was Mr. Derek Ejekum. He's the presiding officer, returning officer, I beg your pardon, at the ILSO West Wogon, and he has been responding to some of the concerns by the NDC in that constituency that some irregularities had happened. Remember that election, which got a lot of national attention, was keenly between Lydia Sarah Malasan and John Seto Dumelo of the NDC. Lydia was the incumbent MP. She had come in through a by-election following the demise of her husband, who was then MP, and she has gotten another round to go and represent her people in Parliament. Doc, before that, we were talking about the figures in Ewutu Senya East, 51, 57. Dr. Notte, what do you say?
Yes, 2016, maybe our Kunsin got about 51,000.
Right.
And was able to move it up to 57,000. An increment of about 6,000.
Right.
That is quite significant. But let's look at Phyllis Koyu.
I'm standing, my feet are...
She moved it.
I understand there's a bit of a difficulty with your microphone. Maybe Stephen can look up the Ablekuma West figures for us one more time, and then we can get into it, because we do understand that the NDC in there, the NDC secretary at Ablekuma West, has conceded defeat, and we will bring you the details, the basis of the concession out there. And then also we will get into some other constituency. Remember, we had given you verified, certified, and concrete 32 out of the 275 constituencies, and we're working closely with all our crack team of experts here to make sure that we feed you the right stuff. And so that represents 12% of the total. And the regional breakdown, you saw 9 in Ashanti, 2 in Volta, 2 in Greater Accra, 1 each for the other regions, Western North as well too. So clearly it tells you that something is rolling and coming. What it looks like, we don't know. But as we go, we will be able to tell you what it looks like. Doc,
yes.
You want to buy?
Yes. If you look at, I've seen at least 2 people conceding. It's a good thing. I would say free and fair elections. There are 3 stages. What we call the pre-election phase that we have passed. And yesterday we were on what, the election phase. After election phase, there is what balloting. When we say the election phase, it deals with balloting, monitoring, and results.
Right.
We have done the balloting. We are doing the results. And all that people have to know is that it's a contest. You either win or lose. But when you lose, you have to accept defeat and abide by the game. That is the spirit.
Okay.
And I'm happy that people are conceding on their own volition. It's not that somebody is forcing you. Then it becomes a problem. Then some of us will believe that the ethos of democracy have not robbed of you. I believe strongly that people are doing the good thing. They should continue like that. It is not the end of the world. Go and do your homework, and next time you have a good game.
Can the delegates be trusted?
As for electorates, they will give you what they want. And when you need them so much, they can disappoint
Electric
you.
shock.
Now,
But
speaking of-
don't be
sorry.
too surprised about the behavior of electorates and politicians. Niccolo Machiavelli says something to politicians, that politicians are not angels on earth. All right? And the same situation can go for electorates. Don't put your hope in electorates so much. Do your homework well and have the right message that will resonate with them. Have a good strategy so that you can woo them to your side. At the end of the day, you should be able to win elections.
At the end of the day.
I mean, next to that question about can delegates or electors be trusted,
Right.
there's a question about polls.
Yeah.
What do we make of polls now?
It depends. I mean, it depends on who is conducting the polls and a bit of background as well about the people conducting the polls. Yeah, sample size. I mean, sample size and how long they have gone into it.
There are
what their
problems with
experience-
polls.
Doc, what's your challenge?
There are various problems with polls, especially in this part of our world. It starts with the planning. You should plan well. Determine the sample size properly. And then the methodology or the methods of data collection. How the poll should be run. It's so critical.
Well, Doc, I
It's
still
supposed to be
understand
run.
that your microphone still has a difficulty. Sorry about that. I was just enjoying it. But Stephen, run us through the Ablekuma
So I was
West
going
thing.
to get to the Ablekuma West, but our system is yet to populate the figures for
It will come up,
2020.
a little patience.
Let's look at 2016. 2016, Eslo also did up to about 56.96% against Dinah Obiniwa Chum, who was the NDC. But for 2020, it was Kwekuado who was representing the NDC for Ablekuma West. And Eslo also has been pretty strong in Ablekuma West from 2016. In 2012, she still won by 58%. So if you look at her performance from 2012 and 2016, she's been doing averagely to 56 and 58% all the way to 2020. So right now, we're hoping to get the performance figures for 2020 so we can talk to difference in performance. But if we look back to 2012 and 2016, she has done 56.96% and 58%
Right.
thereabout.
2020 does look like some 37,000 and an upgrade from 20,000 for the NDC to some 30,000.
Interesting.
But we would want them to put the key in the figures. Of course, it has to go through the back end. The statisticians will have to look at it
Yeah.
properly. The data center would have to verify it properly. So, I mean, we cannot put out what we have not stamped.
That's right. So I wanted to check from Dr. Sasante whether Esla's performance surprised you. I mean, considering how vocal she has been and her role at her ministry and activity on the ground. I mean, I know people in her constituency who speak good of her and everything she's done for the constituency. So does winning come to you as a surprise?
No, not at all. I myself have lived in that constituency for years.
Okay.
I stayed at Dansuma for years.
Dansoman.
Yeah, so I know the work that the woman did. Remember that when we are looking for people to represent us, one of the things that influences the candidates.
Okay.
The candidate is something that people consider. Is he a good candidate? Can he deliver the goods? Would he be able to listen to me when I'm in need of something? Can I assess that candidate? Yes. And of course, party tradition. Dansuma typical party tradition works very well for them.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of MPP supporters are there. And so when you are such a leader with the qualities that they want, and then you are a party person, obviously you have their backing. But of course, your messages, your strategies will also work.
Okay.
Yeah. Dansuma is a middle class society.
I'm looking at the constituency as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, it was carved out of Ablikoma South, where Oko Vanderpoel is now. Now, if you look at their constituency, I mean, she had her troubles with the fisher folks and those who live around the Glyph area, suggesting that they had gone to cut loose some bridge that she had constructed for them to use. You remember the floating bridge? Yes. So those are the other side. Maybe you lived at the bourgeois side, coming towards.
No, I know the terrain very well.
The roundabouts and all of that. But we'll connect with you shortly. Let's go to Ballot 360 and get what's happening there.
Hello, you're welcome to Ballot 360, where we try to unpack all the critical issues across the 275 constituencies in the country regarding the elections that have just been finished. Counting is still ongoing from a number of constituencies. We know the results keep trickling in quick and fast, and we at Media General have published some of those projected results from at least 84 constituencies, that some of which have been verified and confirmed. Now we just want to have a quick conversation around what, misinformation on social media truly means, and some people declaring results that are not factual, and how that may sway the, emotions of different actors as far as the election is concerned. To have this conversation, I should say, I've been joined by Mr. Maximus Ametogo, who's a digital strategies and communications analyst. Maximus, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
My very first question to you. So, we know you tried to do some modeling around, Facebook, and you tried to gauge sentiments of people for a long period of time. And somehow the results that, that study came to looks to be confirmed by a number of the results that have already come in. Exactly. How do you feel about that?
Very excited. It's still it's a model that you keep trying, putting different layers of parameters on it to firm it up. So it looks very great. I'm excited about that.
I think for every region, in the report which I've had the occasion of looking at, and I suspect those of you that are watching, as we shall at some point when we confirm a lot of the results, we shall put the inferences in there. Maybe, who knows, in subsequent elections, you should be able to use that as well to gauge some conclusions. But in that report, for every region, you pick up some sentiment, right, and some political issues that may influence the results. And I see that in the Greater Accra region, for example, Zaneto comes up, Kojo Nkrumah, who doesn't come from the region, equally pops up, right?
Yes.
What did the northern region look like for you?
Yeah, northern region, it was also almost 50-50, but the voting history projected it for the NDC.
Right.
But we need to look at
what is happening, because the preliminary results that are coming up, they look very strange.
Yes.
Right. But I think the more substantive conversation we want to have within the next 5 minutes or so are people that are putting out results that are not accurate on social media. Because I think earlier in the course of the day, we saw some of these results that are coming, and we at Media General try to make it a point that our data center, the Garrison Square, unpacks the data, we validate and fact check it before we put any of these things publicly. I don't know if you come across any of these results that people have put up online, and what that means.
Yeah, and that's what everybody must do. And of course, they must keep watching the station so that they know what is happening. Certified results will be what you'll be publishing, so that they will not get discouraged or heartbroken at the same time because of false information. So at least they should check the verified sources, watch the TV3 election command center, so that they know what is happening. Always check where the sources of those information are coming from. Sometimes, you see, the typical fake news copies, they start with some line that, I got this from a credible source or from a reliable source in this party or that party, this is the summary. Then they start writing they storify their misinformation to convince you that what they are sharing is the right thing. So people should be very careful of where they are getting those sources from. If the person is not sharing it from a TV3 page, you posted it because you have verified it, so I can also share instead of copy and pasting it, they should not believe it.
And I think that, in addition to that, what people equally want to do, because we almost got caught up, saw some individuals who had, these fake news propagators, they're getting smart.
Right.
So it's very easy for somebody to sort of try to build something that may look like it's coming from TV3, which is why it's important that you go to our various social media handles. The hashtag is, Election Command Center. If you get there and go to the various social media handles from all the, media institutions we have within the Media General Group, you will get the verified data.
Yes.
The next question I have for you, before we wrap up this very quick chat, if anybody comes across anything that is not authentic, is there anything you'll advise them to do?
I think they should tag the EC in it. They should tag TV3 in those comments,
Okay.
so that you can cross check.
So we
them.
can verify and cross check
Exactly.
and validate
so
that.
just make sure if it's law or crime related, you should tag the Ghana Police in those posts, so that I'm sure their managers the managers of the accounts will see it and take action on it.
One final question.
Right.
I also West Wogon. Are you
Yes.
surprised?
Not.
You are not surprised?
Yes.
There's a lot of people who are. You're talking about a constituency that, the NPP won by a very large margin. If you look at the midterm elections, they equally, did pretty well. Now the gap, something a little over 2,000.
Right. I think the turnout was quite low, and John did quite well, right? Because he had, the social trust and popularity on his side.
Right.
So he didn't need to do a lot of
But
billboards.
did Facebook tell you anything?
Central Accra did not favor the government.
Okay.
So that is why it was 50-50. And yesterday I was telling you that the government doesn't need to win the region to win the election.
To win the elections.
And
it looks like
It's
the
showing-
results that have come in so
Exactly.
far, the NPP appears to be in lead. I'm using appears
Exactly.
reservedly, because
Exactly.
until we have validated the results at the election command center here, at the data center here, on your election command center, I can't, conjecture and give you things that we haven't verified. And as I said before, we validate and fact check everything here on Ballot 360. This has been Ballot 360 at your election command center here at Media General, and we take you back to the Studio C to see what else we have lined up for you.
I am Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency in the Volta region and ranking member on the committee. We must remember that Ghana is bigger than all of us. We cannot sacrifice